everything my parents needed way back when they first came to America. So for us, we're on a national campaign for financial literacy. The reason why we're on this campaign, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. I'll come back to this stuff. The reason why we're on this campaign is because you look at the world we live in today is completely different than what we've all been brought up in. Nowadays, technology is taking over people's jobs. You look at more and more companies, from big company to small company, they are learning to do more with less people. Now you look at, there's apps, there's everything is online, everything is on the internet. And you look at whether it's a call center somewhere else, or whether it's companies moving overseas, or technology taking people's jobs. Here's what I know. Jobs that are around today probably will not be around the next 10 or 15 years. Just like companies and jobs that existed 10, 15 years ago, they are no longer around today. You think how many places you and I go to nowadays, it's all self-checkout. You go to the airport, after this I have a flight to go back home. You go to the airport nowadays, you don't have to go to anybody for them to print your ticket or check in your bag. You're your own agent. You do those things nowadays. You book your own flight, you book your own hotel, you book your own trips. Nowadays, you go shopping without really going shopping. You go to the movies on the go. You're watching a movie while you're sitting in the car. This is the world we live in today. So you look at, traditionally, we worked for 40 years between the ages of 25 and 65 and then retired. Today, people have difficulty finding gainful employment and may struggle throughout their retirement years. So let's talk about this. Here's what we see. The obstacles that we're all facing today. One of them is we know that we live in an era that is a huge retirement crisis. The reason why we have a retirement crisis upon us is because the three traditional pillars for retirement are in doubt today. Meaning what? Pensions are no longer around. They were replaced 40 years ago by the modern day of 401k. And the 401k is not tested long enough either. On top of that, you look at personal savings. We live in an era where saving habits are at the lowest and the worst. And we'll talk about that. And Social Security, we joke about it, but it's a real fact. We live in an era of social insecurity. Most people will not see a penny of Social Security. If they do, it'll be a very small amount of it as well. And that does not provide for everything nowadays either. So you look at that, and then you look at the education crisis that we're in. You know, tuition costs keep rising, student loans are becoming a major burden, and some graduates are having trouble finding a good job and the right career for whatever they study. Majority of people, they study in one thing, graduate, and end up doing something totally different. Is that not right these days?
Yes.
A four-year degree is not doing much. Your average student's going to school nowadays about 6 years. Undergrad is not doing anything. A four-year degree today is equivalent of a high school diploma of 20 years ago. It's not guaranteeing a career. It might give some job, but not a career where a kid can say, I plant my flag here and I'll work for this company the next 30 years. However, saying all that, student loan debt in the last 10 years has tripled. Student loan debt is more today than credit cards and auto debts combined. So you think an average student that is graduating in $50, $60, $70, $100,000 of student loans, depending on what they study, and they're paying an average of 5 or 6 or 7% interest rate on that, and they don't even know how that works. That's what's making it harder for people to live these days. Third major problem that we have, which is probably the biggest of them all, is the spending crisis that we have in today. We say that people spend the money that they don't have to buy the things they don't need to impress the people they don't like. It's interesting, the era we live in. The era we live in is through a lens these days. The reason why I say people live through a lens is because some of us, we probably have that one friend that every time you want to go eat, when the food comes to the table, before you can take a bite, he or she will jump in and say, wait, stop, I gotta take a picture. You might have any friends like that, right? You might be that person, right? That's me, I got you. Okay, check this out. I find it very interesting how people are posting all the lavish things of their life. The lavish vacation they went on, the beautiful restaurant that they went to, the purse that they bought, the gifts that they get people, the amazing things they do. They just don't show their credit card statement at the end. And don't show that it's all being charged on a credit card and charging them 18, 19, 20% interest. And unfortunately, kids are following that example of mom and dad these days because we need to keep up with people around us. So you look at this obstacles that we have. And most people's situation today, it's ironic that we live in the wealthiest country in the world, but we still have money problems. We work so hard to live our lives, but many people still retire poor. We do so much to raise our kids and often see them finish college with a lot of debt. Debt becomes a way of life today. I look at most countries outside of America. I've been fortunate to travel a lot with and without our company now and go to a lot of other countries. Here's what I've seen. Many other countries outside the US. When you buy your house, it's your house. Your car, it's your car. Business, it's yours. Education, provided. Healthcare, provided. America, when you buy your house, well, it's not really your house. In fact, you bought a mortgage. You bought a debt. Education, not provided. You have to pay for it or borrow a lot of money. Healthcare, not provided. Your business, not really yours. Your car is not really yours. Our valuables aren't really ours. So it looks like in many other countries, if you don't have debt, you're a good person. If you have debt, someone has their thumb on you. In our country, if you don't have debt, you don't exist. You don't have a credit score. You don't have a FICO score. Is this true or not? You can't do anything on your phone these days without a credit card. You can't even check into a hotel. Most hotels won't even take cash for incidentals anymore. They want a credit card on file. So you look at most places you and I go to, we live in a debt-based society. So the reason why we are in this situation, even though America is the land of the opportunity and is the richest country in the world till today, because we lack financial knowledge. What my parents did not have is they did not have access, like the rich and wealthy, nor did they have the knowledge of the rich and wealthy of what to do with their money. And the reason why I say that is because you look at many people today, they're not being taught how to manage their money or read a financial statement. Or financial issues are not being discussed and financial products are not always fully understood. People don't know the difference between their programs. Some people buy an insurance policy, they put it in a closet. Other people contribute to their employer's retirement plan and they don't pay close attention to it. And a large number of people don't even have a will or a trust or a plan to protect their families. I'll give you this. This is not normally part of my presentation, but I'll tell it to you because we're living it right now and it's happening in the last 30 days. Just alone in the last 30 days, have you kept up with what's going on in our economy and the market? Anybody been following it? We are down almost 7%. Listen to what I just said. Our markets, Wall Street, is down almost 7%. We're here to take what people look at Wall Street to Main Street, to families like ours, everyday families. The reason why I bring that up is because think how many people have a plan with their employer or previous employer or a plan right now, and they have no idea what's happening to that money. What's the effect on that money? Whether it's their kids' college savings or their retirement or money for their parents or to buy a house, many people are not educated. So you look at the last 30 days, the economy is up and down and it has a major dip. We're on a down spiral right now. Where do people go to get educated? You tell me one thing. The largest banks in the US, which one of them has a big room to educate people? Which one of them do you know the last time that you walked into a Wells Fargo, a TD, a Chase, a B of A, or any one of those guys, and they turn around and they tell you, hey, we have education classes for you for free. Come learn.
None.
So that's why we believe in education. What sets us apart from the rest of the financial services industry is that in our passion, our blood, is financial literacy and financial education. Because here's what we know. Financial institutions do not want us to know more. Reason being, you ever heard of the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get what? Poorer. Why? The rich that has money, people sit and show them what to do with their money. If you look over here, knowing less can cost what? Can cost more. The less you and I know, the more in benefit for banks and other financial institutions. So we're here, part of our campaign and the opportunities within WFG, within World Financial Group, is that one, we want to help people understand how money works. Once you understand, you're educated, you have knowledge, you have access, now you can get that money to work better for you. So let's talk about this a little bit. Number one is helping people understand. Now you want to call it education, you want to call it knowledge, you want to call it understanding. Because here's what we know. Some people work for money, but they don't know how to get that money to work for them. We're all very good at working for money. How to put some of that to come work for us is a different story. We have to have a financial goal, a plan. People don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. I don't think anybody woke up this Sunday morning saying, today, I plan to fail in my life. But, here's the funny part. From now, we're planning on what we're going to do next week for Christmas. Or we already have our plans set. We know what's going on for New Year's, whose house we're going to, who's bringing what type of food. We do all that planning. Then the next thing will be Valentine's Day. Then the next thing will be, I don't know, President's Day, whatever it is. We plan for all these things, but we never take the same time and energy to plan for our future, our kids' college, our retirement, our parents, or any of those things. We have time for everything else, but we don't have time for the most important thing, which is our personal financial situation. We got to cut down our expenses. It's not how much we earn that counts, it's what we keep. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff. We got to reduce our debt. We need to increase cash flow. I'm sorry, we live in an era today where one income is not enough anymore. You gotta have a backup plan. You gotta have something. If your job is not there tomorrow anymore, what is the backup plan? If they cut my hours tomorrow, what is my backup plan? And this is why we live in an era of entrepreneurship. Statistically shown, entrepreneurship and owning your business is at a record high today, especially with the younger generation coming up. And if you're a parent in here, I challenge you. Lead by example for your children about being an entrepreneur and owning your own business. And you calling the shots and you taking control. So here's our campaign. We strongly believe, as you know, as you can tell, in financial education and financial literacy. We have tools to educate families. One of our tools is this blue book. And I'll talk to you about this and I'll go through some of the slides out of this blue book. Here's some things that we share with families, with clients. So if this was an actual financial seminar, it's not a financial seminar, let me tell you what this is. This is an opportunity seminar. It's an opportunity to open people's eyes for those of you that are first-time guests with us on financial education and financial literacy, but also the opportunities that lie within World Financial Group. But if you're a client of mine and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk 15, 20 minutes, this is what I would share with you and educate with you. First is a formula of building wealth. It does not matter whether it's stocks, bonds, gold, real estate, bank, whatever. Every saving investment, this formula applies to it. First, I need money. Money needs time to grow. The sooner we start, the better it is. The later you start, the more you got to put to catch up. Because you lost time. And I'll show you examples of that. Now, depending how the investment does, it's either a plus rate of return or a minus rate of return. In the last 30 days, what do you think we've been having a lot of? Minuses. Now, there's two things that eat away at our wealth for sure. One, minus inflation. Tell me one thing. Every year, do we pay more for things or do we pay less for things? We pay more. That's inflation. Two, minus taxes. Believe it or not, every account is taxed differently. I gotta tell you this. It's a funny joke. It just happened to me about 2-3 months ago. I was doing this slide on a young guy, and as I finished the formula, and I go, listen, money plus time, plus or minus rate of return, minus inflation, minus taxes, that equals your actual wealth, how much money you actually have. And he stops me and goes, Johnny, you forgot something. I've done this like over 1,000 times. I'm like, I forgot something? What you talking about? And he goes, you guys forgot a minus. I go, what do I forget? And he repeats it back. He goes, money plus time, plus or minus rate of return, minus inflation, minus taxes, minus your wife, equals your wealth. And I look at him and I'm like, hang on, man. You're like 22, 23 years old. Are you married? He goes, no, I'm not married. I go, then what are you talking about? He goes, I see how my dad complains about my house all day. Remember my disclaimer, it's a joke, right? Alright, so this is the formula of wealth. Now you look at most people, we do not pay attention to this formula when it comes to our 401ks or our bank savings or our kids' college or any of that. And when it does come to saving investments, here's what we look at. I got money, where do I get the best rate of return? No one looks at the effect of time, or inflation, or tax treatments, or how taxes change all the time. Nobody pays attention to that. So if we broke this formula down, dissected this, let's talk about money first. We gotta create the habit of paying ourselves first. It's not what we make that counts, it's what we keep. So I'll give you an example. In one of our workshops, we educate people about there's two types of people, A and B. Type A people, they make money, they first save, they pay themselves first, and then they live off of whatever is left over. Type B people, they make money, they spend, and then they attempt to save if there's anything left over at the end. I'll give you an example. Let's say my wife and I make $5,000 a month together. Type A, we put $500 aside. We pay ourselves first, our family first. And we live off of, and we design our life to live off of $4,500. Type B people, which is what majority of us do, we make $5,000 between my wife and I. We live off of $5,000, and at the end, we have nothing left to save. Before we know it, we're 50, we're 60, and I don't have much set aside or anything set aside for my retirement. Now, most people, when the word saving investment comes to their mind, automatically they shut off and go, I don't have money. Here's what I've learned. Small changes make big money. Spending is a habit, so is saving. What if you can make small changes to your spending habits and start saving just $10 a day? $10 a day. I don't know what your careers are over here, but here's what I do know. Everybody can save $10 a day. Why do I say that? We're all guilty of what I call money slipping between the cracks. $5 here, $7 there, $10 here, $20 there, $15 here, $8 here. Yes or no?
Yes.
At the end of the month, we all have $300, $400, $500, $600 slipping between the cracks, and we have no idea where this money's going. Tell me one thing. Why do I need to be paying $100, $200 a month for cable TV for 300 channels to watch the same two damn channels all the time?
Exactly.
Tell me.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
Changes the news.
This is Sunday morning church right here. We always speak the truth. No, but listen, check this out. Not that serious. We do a workshop where we tell people, hey, everybody lives off a cell phone today. Why are you paying for a landline? Cut that thing out. Save the money. Cut out unnecessary expenses. Eating lunch out every day. Dude, you're spending $10, $15 on lunch out every day. Why don't you take lunch to work 2-3 days out of the week? Save that money now. Cut out the cable. You're Netflixing, YouTubing, Huluing, Amazoning. You're somethinging all the time. Why not? Save that money. Everywhere you go nowadays, it's got Wi-Fi. Why do I have to have a tablet and I pay for internet every month on that when everywhere I go has Wi-Fi these days? You cut back $30 here, $20 there, $100 here, $5 here. You pay attention to the spending habits. Watch what happens. $10 a day is $300 a month. $300 a month for 30 years gives me $447,000 saved up. Just $10 a day. If I do $600, which is $20 a day. $10 me, $10 my spouse. We have almost $900,000 saved. I'm 30 years old. This page affects me big time. Because my parents have been in this country now for 32 years almost. If someone would have sat down with my mom and my dad 31, 32 years ago when they first came to this country and told my father, hey, put $10 a day aside. Put $300 a month aside, which I know he could have. Today, my dad will have $4, $5, $6, $7, $800,000 saved up for his retirement. My college would have been provided for. I couldn't go to college because one, we didn't have money, and I needed to make money to support my mom. I dropped out of college to do this business. It was God sent. Huge blessing in disguise. However, if someone could have shared this with my parents, my dad having $400,000 or $500,000 for his retirement, I would not be his retirement plan today. Both my mom and father depended on my income today. Now, thank God for Wolf Financial Group, I have a very healthy income. I could afford to support both of them and some. But still, you get the point of what $10 a day could do for families. You know what our campaign's all about? Go out and open families' eyes up to this. And at the end, say, let's start helping you save in any of the programs that we can help you save in with all the companies that we work with. Check this one. I covered this already. It's not what you earn that counts, it's what? What you keep. Common characteristics among wealthy people, they're very conscious about their spending. Here's the interesting part. What do the rich and wealthy know that families like ours don't know? There's one of them. Here's another one. Let's break down the rate of returns. There we go. So, Albert Einstein discovered a formula called the Rule of 72. It applies to something called compounding interest. So here's how compounding interest works. It's one of the most important discoveries in finance. It shows you how to calculate the effect of compound interest with a very simple formula. You take the number 72, you divide it by the rate of return. The answer is the number of years it takes to double the money. So if I have, for example, a 4% interest, 72 divided by 4 equals 18. It will take 18 years to double my money. So let's go through this exercise. Let's say I have a 4% account, 8%, 12%. Let's start here first. Every 18 years it'll double. 18 years into it, so if I put $10,000 today, 18 years later, I have $20,000. If I go another 18 years, my $20,000 doubles to how much? 40. Not bad. That's at 4%. Now, if I go somewhere and I put my $10,000 that is going to earn double the interest, it's now going to earn 8%. So, 72 divided by 8 equals 9. So money's going to double every how many years now? 9 years. So, check this out. 9 years into it, 20. Another 9, 40. Another 9, 80. Another 9, 160,000. What if I go somewhere and I'm getting 4 and 8 combined? 12. 72 divided by 12 equals 6. Money's going to double every how many years now? 6 years. Check it out. Doubles to 20. 6 years later, 40. Another 6, 80. 160, 320. 6 years later, $640,000. Here's what I can tell you. 12% exists, so does 8, so does 4. Why doesn't anybody tell us about it? Why should they? As long as we don't know, all of us. Where is the number one common place everybody leaves all their money all the time? Saved. How do banks make money? You've heard the term bank robbery, correct? Okay, let me show you where the robbing is happening. Let's say the bank says, Johnny, put your $10,000 here with us. We're going to guarantee you 4%. They take our $10,000 and they go invest it somewhere earning 12. At the end, they make $640,000. How much did they guarantee you and I in our account? 40. How much are they keeping? 600. Look, the difference between $10,000 at 4% versus 12 is $600,000. There's your robbery. Oh, that's one thing they do with our money. Anybody have credit cards? Yeah? It's okay. Credit card. We have to have credit cards living in America. You gotta have them living here. Okay? We all got credit cards. Where do you get credit cards from?
The
Bank. Car loan, where do we get that from?
The bank.
Home loan, where do we get that from? Line of credit, bank. Personal loan, bank. Business loan, bank. Loan, bank. The bank is not a savings institution. We mistaken that. The bank is a lending institution. Meaning what? You and I lend our money to the bank. We charge them today 0.5%. But then when you need a credit card, a home loan, a car loan, a personal loan, a business loan, any loan, they use your own money, lend it right back to you, and they charge you 18, 19, 20%. Hang on. You want to talk about education? We have always known about compounding interest. Why do I say we've always known about it? This is a $10,000 investment earning 12%, because that's how I phrased it. What if this was a $10,000 loan and they're charging you 12%? It works exactly the same way. When I learned this 12 years ago, it is this concept right here that I said, I'm joining this business. Amongst all the other things, me personally, for this guy as an 18-year-old kid, it was the rule of 72. That night, I kid you not, I went home, I started talking to my mom. My mom goes, you did what? I go, Mom, I signed up with this company, and you don't know, they have these 72 accounts. She looks at me like, I don't know what you're talking about, it's foreign language. If you talk to anybody in the family, I'll kill you about this. But listen, the reason why I was conflicted that night, and I'll tell you why. It was because at that time, my parents were in the country for 20 years. So if they could have positioned their money somewhere that it could have potentially doubled every 6 years, let's say 7 years. 7, 14, 21. That is 3 rounds of doubling their money, time that they could not get back anymore. Remember money plus time? There's an example. What if this guy starts 6 years sooner at 23? You know what happens here? Double it one more round. He's got $1.28 million. That's time. That's the power of knowledge, education, knowing how to get money to come work for you. So, compounding interest reveals 2 types of people. One, people who don't understand how money works, they end up working for money, and people who understand how it works, they let the money work for them. Again, wealthy people tend to spend time to learn and understand how money works. They look for advice and solutions. Why is it important to look for advice and solutions? Because it's interesting. Your car breaks down, you have a mechanic. You have legal problems, you have an attorney. Taxes, you have an accountant. You're sick, you go to the doctor. Finance, who do you go to? So, let's talk about this. My good buddy Ben Franklin said that there's nothing certain in this world except for death and what? Taxes. So let's talk about something, one of my favorite topics, which is taxes. These are all of the accounts that are accessible to us. Which I have to say this. World Financial Group, we do not manufacture any insurance or investment products. World Financial Group is not an insurance company, nor are we an investment company. We are an entrepreneur education platform company. That's all we are. We are leading in the financial services industry. On our platform, we work with over 200 of the best financial companies in the world. The Transamericas, the Nationwides, the Prudentials, the Alliances, the Fidelities, the Vanguards, the Oppenheimers, the PIMCOs, the Pacific Lives, the Everests. These are all companies. Jackson National, Lincoln. These are all companies on our platform. I'm sure you've heard of a lot of them, yes? So, we represent their product services. However, this is what is available to everybody, regardless of what company they go to. So right now, those companies don't matter. It's what is accessible to people. Remember what I said earlier on. What I found in common with all those families that I grew up around in Beverly Hills, what was different, one, they were entrepreneurs, they were not employees. Two, they had access and education to this information. My parents didn't have access. Why? They were not the rich and wealthy. So check it out. All of the accounts, they fall under 3 different tax families. Tax now, later, advantage. How do they work? Tax now. This is what I call our everyday commonly used accounts. Everybody has them, has heard of them, knows them, and has their money in them. Look at that. Checking, saving, CDs. These are what? Your basic bank products. Your basic bank programs. Is that right or wrong? Yes? Yes. And then look at this. Stock, mutual fund. The common person, when it comes to saving investment, here's where they save, and if they're going to invest, here's where they go. So because of that, look at what IRS does. Common people are going to put a lot of money over there, so let's tax them, tax them, tax them, tax them, tax them. That's why middle class, working class pay all the taxes. Rich and wealthy save on their taxes. A smaller group. So let me give you a numbers example, okay? Here, if I put $10,000, my $10,000 grows to $12,000. How much did I just earn? $2,000. I have to pay tax now on that $2,000 that I made. So let's say I pay $500 in taxes. I'm left with $11,500. Next year, I earn interest on $11,500, not $12,000. Every time you make money, pay tax, just like your paycheck. That's tax now. Tell me one thing, in fact. Your paycheck is also considered tax now. Where does most of your paycheck go? Where does it go? Taxes. So check this one out. A smaller group are here in tax later. These are all of your retirement plans. 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, annuities, pensions. So what does this mean? I'm not going to pay the tax on that money now. I'm going to pay it when? Later. So I have $10,000, becomes $12,000, I don't pay tax. It becomes $13,000, I don't pay tax. It becomes $15,000, I don't pay tax. It becomes $20,000, I don't pay tax. When do I pay tax? When I take it out. So here's the challenge. All these accounts, based on IRS rule, you cannot touch them in most cases until you are 59 and a half years old. Here's what I know last time I checked. Most of us in here, we have another 10, 15, 20, 30 years to go until we're 59 and a half. In the next 10, 20, 30 years, taxes, all forms of taxes, you think it's going to stay the same, go down, or potentially go up? Probably go up. So tell me one thing. Knowing that, why in the world then would I put all of my money, if not the majority of it, in an account that I know I'm going to pay taxes? I just don't know how much. Probably more than today. You know what that's like? That's like I come to you and I say, lend me $100,000. You write me a check, and I go, how much interest are you going to charge me? And you go, I'm not going to tell you that right now. When are you going to tell me? I'll tell you the date you come to pay me this money back. You'll never borrow money like that. So how about this? How much taxes am I going to pay Uncle Sam on my 401k or my IRAs and my annuities? Well, we're not going to tell you now. We'll tell you the day you come to take the money out. Whatever taxes are then, which probably more than today. Smaller group were there. Almost nobody but the rich and wealthy are in tax advantage. What are these? Roth IRA? Look, it's a different form of an IRA. A 529 college savings, a municipal bond, a health savings account, life insurance contracts, and long-term care benefits. These are all known as tax advantaged, or in other words, tax-free. Meaning, I do not pay tax as the money grows, and I do not pay tax when I take money out. It's written right here. Tax advantage means you generally won't pay tax when you withdraw money from your account. If I met with a client, 15, 20 minutes, that's what I'm sharing with them. And here's my biased opinion. In those 20 minutes, we educate families more on personal finance than they've probably ever been educated on in their entire lifetime.
Facts.
That's why we're expanding, and that's why if you're here as a guest today, join our campaign. Whether you speak English or Spanish or African American or Jamaican or wherever you're from, or you're Persian, it doesn't matter. Here's what I will tell you. Everybody needs this education. I'm not even going to ask you anymore. Because in all my presentations, I always ask, how many people do you know that need this? And everybody goes, everybody. I don't need to ask that. I know that now. We all know people need this information. Yes or no?
Yes.
Nobody cares about your family and your community and the people around you more than you. And if you and I don't jump on board with something like this and learn this and commit my time and my energy, it's funny how many of us commit our time to our boss, but we don't put that commitment into our own future for our families. My boss tells me to stay overtime, no problem. Come in on your day off, no problem. But when it comes that weekend, when we finally have an opportunity to do something amazing for ourselves and our kids and our family, we take it lightly, a lot of us. Opportunity doesn't come around all the time. That's one thing I do know. So, on top of the education, we have classes. Right now we're running these classes, I believe, in the Bronx, and we're running them in Brooklyn. Once a week, we provide these workshop classes that we take that information and we go more into detail. We have an entire workshop just on life insurance. We have an entire workshop just on retirement plans. An entire workshop just on debt management, how to pay off your debts faster. We have an entire workshop just on college planning, or an entire workshop just on Medicare, healthcare, and long-term care. Are these important things?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, how much does somebody pay to join our campaign or become a member with us? A measly one-time $100. A one-time $100 gets people access to all of this, all of our workshops, all the materials, and becoming an advisor, getting licensed with the state of New York, and being able to help families and make money. That's why I love what we do. In fact, yeah, I'll go a little bit more into detail. When somebody joins us, right away, we get you educated about all aspects of personal finance. I challenge you. Ask the people who invited you here, and ask them how much more they know about finance today compared to when they started.
Don't ask me, you already know.
Even if they started 30 days ago. In fact, I'll tell you one thing. Even if you started today, you know more about finance, because I just taught you about Rule of 72. I just taught you about tax now, later, and advantage. You can't say we don't educate people, because that's what we do. We give you access to hundreds of financial product services right away. The moment someone gets licensed with the state, ours is not a company license, it's a state license. It's a governmental credential. The moment someone gets licensed with the state, we get you appointed with the finest companies in the financial industry. And you have access to all their product services. Oh, by the way, those companies, like Nationwide. Everybody knows Nationwide, right? It's on your side, or his side, or her side, his side, or his side. It's on right now. There's a lot of sides to be on right now, right? But you'll have a representative from Nationwide come to your local office and actually train you on all their product services. A normal client or consumer doesn't get access to that. You'll get Transamerica to come out and say, hey, we updated our programs, our accounts for our clients. Let us share that with you. So, here's a little bit of the backing of our company. Today, we have something about over 5,000 people who make 6 figures in World Financial Group. We have about 159, soon to be 160, people making 7 figures, $1 million per year in this company. I have never seen a company that has over 5,000 people make a good 6 figure. There are a lot of people who make 100,000 a year, a good amount of people who make $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $750,000 a year. There's a lot of them in our company. A lot. Now, whether they're doctors or engineers or professors or housewives or students, everybody has an equal opportunity. At the end, I'll tell you what it comes down to. Who wants it the most? Who's the hungriest the most? That's all it is. It's entrepreneurship. It's hustling and grinding every day. You're going to work hard. You're going to work hard for your boss anyways. You're building their company and their dreams and their lifestyle. I might as well do that for myself and my family. So, we are our backing, and I'm sure you all know, and everybody in California knows, but we're part of a Transamerica company. Transamerica is the one with the landmark building in San Francisco. So Transamerica has been in business for over 100 years, is a multi-billion-dollar company, and we have an opportunity to make a multi-million dollars with WFG. So I'll share this with you. We also live a great lifestyle. One of the great things that I appreciate about our company is that every year we travel. We have incentive trips that go on. So every year for sure, we have one trip to Hawaii, a different island every year, and we have an international trip. So like for instance, this year, 2018 that went by, we took 4,000 people to Vietnam and Taiwan. Coming up for next year, we have 5,500 people going to Israel and Greece, Mykonos. We just came back from a trip in my team where we had 600 people in Cancun, Mexico. All inclusive. And in a couple months, we'll go to Hawaii. They just rolled out the names of the people going to Hawaii. So this is one of the things that I appreciate about our company. Or even things like, for instance, they ran a 3-month contest. Out of 60,000 licensed advisors, that they will take the top 1,000, fly them out to Las Vegas, which is going to happen right after this, fly out to Las Vegas. They get to spend an entire day with 3 amazing speakers. One of them, a guy named Robert O'Neill. He was the Navy SEAL that led the troops to killing Bin Laden. 2, a guy named Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher. 3, Irvin Magic Johnson. Our company's paid for these 3 people to come speak to the top 1,000 people tomorrow morning in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. The cool part is this. One of them that's qualified, part of the top 1,000. You. Forget me.
You're already there.
Forget me. But one of them, because listen, would you agree out of 60,000 people in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico, you finish top 1,000 in your company is a big deal. Right? One of them is sitting right there. After this, we'll jump on a flight, we'll go to Vegas, and then we can't share the rest of it. So. You know the same, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Apparently, anywhere you go in the world nowadays, whatever happens anywhere, it just stays there. You hope it stays there, but with social media, it's everywhere. So here's the main reason why I started. I started because of number 1. I literally wanted to save my family's future. I wanted to help my mom out. So I started because I wanted to, 1, learn about how money works. I wanted to earn extra income, get rid of our family debt, and begin to save for our family and save for our future. And I see a lot of people that come here, they want to save for their kids, they want to save for their retirement. They start, tell me one thing, what would an additional an additional $2,000 or $3,000 a month do for your family? A little bit or a lot?
A lot.
What would an extra even $1,000 a month do for your family? Will it help you pay off your credit cards faster? Will it help put some of that money aside for my retirement, or get better health care, or provide for my kids' education? Absolutely. So I love what Bill Gates said. If you're born poor, it's not your mistake. But if you die poor, it's your mistake. You know why? The first part of that phrase is not by choice. The second part of that phrase, that's my choice. And I look at, we all have choices in life. We all have decisions that we can make. Every day you have a choice. Every day. Just like today, you chose to be here. You could have also chosen not to be here. But here's what I do know. I strongly believe this. If you don't join our campaign today and don't join World Financial Group Business, we are probably the first, if not the last group of people that will ever talk to you about these things. Because what I know, for the first 20 years of living in America, nobody talked to my parents about this stuff. And I'm happy that I tripped and fell into this business, because it all happened by accident. And I look back, and it's probably the best accident that ever happened. So here's what I want to do before I close this part out. I want to invite a couple of my friends to come up, and just 2 minutes each. They share with you their story. I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm a successor in WFG, but I think it's important to hear from the people like Odetta and some of those guys that are 1 year, or 2 years, or 3 years in our company. They're the ones running the offices here, whether it's the Bronx or Brooklyn, and making some things happen. So can I ask if the marketing directors and senior marketing directors, if you can come up here and just share your story real quick. If we can give these guys a big hand while they come up. You're an SMB. You for sure want to hear from the top 1,000 Odetta, right? So
Yeah, yes we do.
you can't hide over there behind your phone, Odetta. Perfect. Let's just go 2 minutes. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody feeling? Born and raised in the Bronx. I was actually, just to keep it very, very short, hopefully we get to know each other a little bit more over time, but my best friend over there, Pierre Correa, actually invited me to a financial literacy workshop in Columbia University about 3.5 years ago. And at the time, I didn't realize it was a decision that would change my life completely. He talks about choices, right? And it was a choice that I made to show up, but it was a decision that I made to move forward. And today, I grew up always wanting to be in business. I didn't know what business I wanted to be in. I didn't know how I was going to grow a business, but fortunately for me, that choice came in a package that I didn't think it was going to come in. But thank God that I was able to attend that workshop, learn a little bit more about how money works. He makes an excellent point when he talks about the fact that bare minimum, you affiliate yourself with this organization. The downside, we hear markets all the time, downside, upside. The downside is you're going to get an education that you've never received when it comes to personal finance. That your neighbors, your friends, they always want to talk about some party, some gathering. They're always planning to do something else to celebrate things. A lot of celebration in our communities and our cultures, but what are we celebrating really, right? So I'm so grateful to my best friend Pierre to be able to invite me to something like this 3.5 years ago. Sitting in the same seats, maybe not these seats, but in Columbia, but essentially the personal development, right? Because some people, let's say for example, maybe it's not money, maybe it's not any of this stuff, but it could be personal development, right? And one thing I will tell you is that as an individual, I wouldn't be able to do this 3.5, 4 years ago, speak in front of all of you guys, right? So even the personal development aspect, being able to grow myself as an individual, make connections, network with people, build relationships, be able to get drunk with Johnny in Cancun, Mexico, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
I told you, nothing stays with
But being able to be in front of people and genuinely, I'm going to be very honest with you. When I first started in the organization, I just wanted to make more money. I was previously in real estate, but I began to genuinely love people and wanting to help people and put them in a position to win for their family. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone. organization for about 3.5 years now, which that went by so fast. But you know, I actually have my parents here, so we could give them a big round of applause. So as you can see, I'm just a true advocate when it comes to financial literacy. Obviously, like Johnny was saying, like Aaron was saying, like we all say, this is something that we need in our community, especially for just the community that we live in. Me being born and raised in the Bronx as well too. These are things and concepts that I was not taught in school. Even going to college, I wasn't taught this information. And unfortunately, like Johnny was saying as well too, our parents were not taught this. So they did the best they could for us, right? But unfortunately, I had to incur a lot of student loan debt going to college, right? But there's nobody really teaching you how to get out of that debt. So when I seen as far as what this organization does for people, right on site, I was on deck as far as being able to push this literacy, being able to give this to my community, and being able to, as far as being business with my best friend and a whole bunch of other great people that I've been able to meet along this journey has just been amazing over the last 3 years. And I just look to keep advocating this, keep helping people, and keep striving to as far as increase or as far as elevate the education for my family and for many families out there. And to be able to build a business on top of that is just amazing. So I thank you for your time. I thank you to everybody.
No way.
It's funny, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, but when I was in 3rd grade, I used to tell everybody in my classroom that I had superpowers. And most of it was inspired by the X-Men. Everybody here knows about X-Men, and we got a couple people here, Marvel, all right? So I used to tell people that, and most of my friends believe this, some people, you're very naive at that age. But point being is that I always felt like I had something in me that was way greater, whether it's some of us believe in God, some of us, whatever you believe in. I always had a greater power entity in me that's always told me that you're destined to serve people in a way where it's like you're bringing in the education to them. And I feel like me being a part of this campaign is my superpower. I feel like this is a way that I can go to different communities, different places in the world, and educate them on financial literacy. So I come from a little, I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Start over.
2 weeks ago, I quit my job. I used to work for the Department of Education in South Bronx as well, and I just dedicated my time to doing this full time because, like I mentioned before, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I've never felt more certain in my life about this, and this is why I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm finding every way I can to share this with people. So for those of you standing here today or sitting here, just know that there's a brighter future in store for you. Okay? Thank you.
I'm a mom. I didn't get to go to school. I am a mom of 6 kids. Hey.
Looking good, Mama.
Years ago, when I was invited to see this presentation, very similar, I didn't really get it. I didn't really get it. All I really understood was that I needed to save. And I realized that at that time I had 4 children already. I hadn't saved anything for them. And I hadn't been taught, living in this country mostly half of my life. Nobody has sat down with me and said, hey, you're a mom, or you have kids, or just for yourself, you need to save for retirement. I have worked, I did many odd jobs throughout time and stuff. Even teaching martial arts too. I hope to be like him when I grow up. And so, more than anything, I'm grateful for this campaign because it gave me the opportunity to learn for myself. there's so much more now that I get to do. I get to teach other people as well, and I have a lot of fun doing that because I love people. And so I'm just grateful. So I'm just happy today, like always. So.
Save that for last. But for those of you guys, again, I get to see you. My name is Michelle Malaleon. Everybody was saying I was born in like the Bronx and raised in the Bronx. I can't say that. Born in the Philippines, raised half of my time in California, and adapted to New York a year ago. So for me, this organization means a lot to me because at the end of the day, I didn't have my best friend introduce me to this business, nor was I someone's family member. I was just so sick and tired working at a retail store back about 7 years ago. I used to manage a store in the Beverly Hills in California, and I was sitting there and have interrogated almost every single one of my coworkers that's been there for about 10 years, 15 years, and I asked them, do you love what you do? Are you happy here? And do you know what they told me?
Nope.
They said, no, it's just a job. It's like money to pay the bills. And out of nowhere, my life just went fast forward, and I realized I don't want to end up in that situation. Nor do I see myself in the future doing that for the rest of my life. I didn't see myself being there for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and I said, oh my God, this is scary thought. And I realized I look at my income too, and I have my mom, my dad, my brothers, and in my culture, it's a very family-oriented culture that your parents took the time to raise you. Guess what? The tables will turn the moment you can sustain yourself. Have you guys ever had that situation for yourself? Well, guess what? I look at my paycheck and it's barely sustaining me. So how am I going to sustain my parents? And just in case something happened, my brothers, so where am I going to stand? I know that financially is not going to allow me to do that. Have you ever thought about that in your job?
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes we're like a sandwich generation, you could say. So someone walked into my store and I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired, and just someone walked in, this lady, gorgeous lady. She had a suit on, her hair was nicely done. It's like that aura, you know, that light that attracts that vibe. And when she came in, I went directly to her and said, hey, listen, what do you do? Whatever you do, I want to do it. She was happy, she fell in love with what she does, and I just interrogated her and said, please, I'm looking for another way out. I'm looking to do something for families, and this is not the end goal for me. So someone sat me down. The next day, I set up an appointment, just like put a good word for me. I manage, I'm very good, hardworking. My work ethic is in a different level. Just please share this information. And when I saw this type of information, I just fell completely in love with it. And the following day, I started part-time. And even though I had started part-time while I still have my full-time job, in my mind, I know that the moment I learn at least the most basic level and get my license in the industry, I'm going to go full throttle. And ever since then, about 6.5 years ago, I've never looked back. I resigned, giving them 2 days resignation and said bye. After 6 months of being in this organization, because I saw that I was making more part-time than full-time. And because of this organization too, I've earned more than what people earn in 1 year, in just less than 1 month. So, but not just the commission, not just the money itself, but being able to share this and make a difference to a lot of families is what means a lot to me. So that's my story, and
My name is Odetta, also known as the Swap Queen. We love these coins. So I'm super grateful. Listen, WFG changed my life. Literally changed my life. I'm standing on this stage today because
born and raised in Guyana, moved to the States at 21. Didn't go to school here, like pre, all that stuff. 21, my parents said, don't work, just go to school. But they didn't give me the money to go to school. So I graduated from NYU with 0 debt because I work while going to school. I say all this to say, I'm good with saving money, but even though I knew to save, I didn't know this information. I didn't know the rule of 72. I didn't know where to put my money to get me more money. I didn't know how to make money work for me. So I would have been that person having $100,000 in the bank and only made a couple hundreds in interest. So when I sat in a presentation like this, at, I want to say it was Hostos College, a year ago, in August, last year August, immediately I took massive action. As a professor, I didn't even think about the business side. I said, you know what, I'm going to learn this for myself, and I'm going to share this with my students, and I don't even teach personal finance. I teach business, I teach hospitality, I teach sales and marketing, introduction to logic, not personal finance. But I knew that I could help myself with this information, and by default, also share it to my students who are not even finance major. Now, not only is this in the classroom, I lent a copy to the dean, my faculty, who were making over 6 figures. And she said to me, Odetta, create a program, let's get this class, let's roll it as a pilot. The first semester we ran it, 90% were retirees. I was shocked. Why are they in my classroom? They're already retired. I couldn't understand why they're here. They're here because they're broke. They're here because they're living paycheck to paycheck, even in retirement. That shook me. So you know what? I am gung-ho to make sure everybody knows this information and stack more coins. Because if you don't do this today, it's going to bite you tomorrow. And with that, nobody should walk out of here saying, I got to think about it. There's nothing to think about. It's time to do. 2019 is less than 2 weeks away. What are we thinking? We got to think about saving money? We got to think about making money? Why? Stack your coins.
When I first learned about this stack your coins concept, I went home and started literally putting my coins.
You funny.
Hey, can we do every single one of those guys?
I'm on.
I have just one slide I want to close out with. For those of us that are looking at this business and want to know also, we know we educate people, but what is the income potential with World Financial Group? What's that opportunity with WFG? I just want to share that with you. The example that we show, first of all, is an agent or an associate helping a family save a total of $3,000 in one whole year. Okay? So that is $250 a month. We have clients that they save more. We have clients that save 100, 200. Here's how I look at it. Saving something is better than saving nothing at all. So, if at entry level, when somebody starts with us, they start off as a training associate, which is at 25% contract with all the companies that we work with. So, this training associate helps somebody save $3,000 at 25%. They earn $750 for helping that one client. Now, the $750 that we earn, not a penny of it comes out of the family's $3,000. Their $3,000 completely goes into their program, into their accounts, with whichever company that we line them up with. We don't charge our clients either. So where do we make money from? If you remember, I mentioned we work with 200 of the finest financial service companies in the world. So all we do is we just see what does a family need. Based on what they need, which company specializes in that. We line the two up. We charge that company for our services. So I'll give you an example. You meet with a client, they want to save that $250 a month for their kids' college. Let's say Nationwide specializes in that college savings. We line them up. That $250 goes to Nationwide every month. Nationwide is the one who pays us that $750 for pretty much bringing the client to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Pretty simple. It's a win-win-win. Company wins, client wins, family wins, you and I win also. Now you look at, you help one family a month, you're making $750 at entry level, I think that helps out. How many hours does somebody work at their job? You don't have to answer it, but how many hours does somebody work at their job so they make $750? And here, I educate, here's what I know. We are good people doing good things for good families. That's how I look at it. I advance, I become an associate. Now, at 35%. At 35%, I'm now earning $1,050 per account, per transaction. I help 2 families the entire month, I'm making $2,000. I do 1 a week, help 1 client a week, 1 family a week, times 4, I'm making $4,000 a month. This is how many of our people, whether it's Odetta, whether it's Michelle, whether it's myself, whether it's Lisa, whether it's Becky, or Aaron, or Angel, or any of these guys, we all start off part-time. But when we start having income like this, we first pay off our debts, we first make sure we have good savings, good investments ourselves, then we transition to go full-time eventually if we want to. Now, if I can make $4,000 or $5,000 a month part-time, imagine what I can do if I go full-time. Eventually you advance and you become a manager. What the people you just saw up here, they're at management level. They are minimum marketing directors. So they help a family save $3,000, at 50%, they're earning $1,500. Tell me one thing, is that good for your family or not? Yeah.
Yes.
Again, we are a good company doing good things for good families. That's all we are. And we get compensated very well for it. Lastly, you become a senior marketing director at 65%. You help someone save $3,000 the whole year, you earn pretty much $2,000 for helping that family. You do 1 a month, you're making $2,000. You do 1 a week, 4 a month, you're making $8,000 a month. Times 12 months, that's $96,000. Pretty much you're making 6 figures. Money is in the money business. Anywhere you go in the world, that from the ground, you have to look at the building like this. At the top, it's a financial company. It's either an investment company, insurance company, or a bank. Look at it. You live in the mecca of finance. Every high-rise building in New York, pay attention to the sign at the top. It's a financial services company. Come to Los Angeles, same thing. Our downtown LA, all financial companies at the top. Money is in the money business. Not only do we get educated, but for the right people who actually commit themselves and their time and their energy and resource, we're here to train and get people to where they want to be. The right people that they commit themselves, like I did 12 years ago, and I continued that commitment, or people like Odetta or many of these guys, this is the potential of what begins to happen. Not counting if eventually I start to build a team of people who are doing this as well. This is just me helping families personally myself. So, I look at what we do, and I look at, first of all, I appreciate everybody putting the time today. If we can give all of our friends and guests a big hand for being here today. I'll leave you with this. A few weeks ago, I told a group of people, don't be so broke-minded where you're too poor to pay attention for your future. And I will say this one thing. How do you know somebody's made a decision? By taking immediate, massive action. If not, it was just a thought. And I love what she closed it off with. With the new year right upon us, everything you and I do now is in preparation for 2019. In fact, I look at 2019 has already started. And at this time of the year, everybody is always wishing people and wishing for themselves more prosperity, more happiness, more wealth, more health, all of those things. And our campaign is not just a wealth campaign. Our campaign is a wealth and health campaign. We're not only here to better people financially and their financial well-being, but here's what we know. The number one stress that every family suffers from comes from, the root of it comes from what? Finance. Comes from finance. And that's where we're here to bring these two together. So I challenge you to join us in our campaign, to get part of this. Get with the people who invited you, see what it takes to jump on board with us, what that membership entails of. Get to these local offices for those workshops because they happen every week and you saw them up here. These are the instructors of those workshops. There are some, sorry to put it this way, badass instructors. They're the best of the best that New York has. And we cannot wait until we expand more to New Jersey, to Connecticut, to Virginia, to all these areas that are around us because we're the only deal in town that is really helping families like this. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Get together with the people who invited you. They'll leave you a short survey that you can give us feedback of how you feel of the information we shared with you. Give that survey back to them, please. And hopefully we see you in our work this week. All right? Thank you.
It's a wrap.